Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for checking it out. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe. First, a disclaimer, my fibromyalgia journey is my own. Everyone's journey is different. Some things that help me will help you, some things that help me won't help you, and vice versa. So keep that in mind as we move forward. I want to know what you're doing to help you, and I'd love to hear your diagnosis story, etc. So today I'm coming at you to talk about what I say to people who are newly diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Keeping in mind that my journey is very different from a lot of you in that I was diagnosed 17 years ago and very little was known about it at the time. Nowadays, doctors can diagnose you easier and they will generally, from what I understand, push some sort of medication on you. That was not my story, and if you want to know more about that, you can go back and watch my diagnosis video. But no matter what your journey is, getting diagnosed with fibromyalgia can feel like, for lack of a better word, a jail sentence. You are going to be in probably non-stop chronic pain for the rest of your life, and there are a bunch of other really fun, insert sarcasm here, symptoms that you're going to be dealing with as well. So it's hard. It's really hard. The first thing that I tell people who come to me who say, you know, what would you suggest for someone who's been newly diagnosed with fibromyalgia, is to allow yourselves to grieve. Your life is going to be different. Things are going to change. Moving forward, things are going to be a little bit different. You're going to have to take certain things into consideration that you didn't have to before, and you're going to have moments of grief. And you know what? That's okay. Allow yourself that. I think so often in today's society, we don't let people feel the full colors of their emotion, and we kind of like to slap band-aids on things and just say, hey, you know, move on with your life. Don't give in to the hurt and the pain and the confusion that you feel. Just move through it, listen to the doctors, and do what you can. I don't think that that's helpful. I think you should be allowed to feel what you're feeling. You're going to feel anger, you're going to feel grief, you're going to feel sad, probably going to feel a little bit depressed. I'm here to tell you that that's okay. That's okay. Allow yourself that time. Allow yourself that grief period, and know that you might feel grief, you know, 5-6 years down the line too, and those moments are also okay. There are still moments to this day, 17 years into my journey, where I have down days, I have dark days where I'm just like, why do I have this? Today is so hard. And I don't tell you that to freak you out, but that's just reality. So I've also had a lot of moments of happiness, so it's not all hopeless. Okay. It's really hard not to compare. We live in a world where comparison is as common as breathing. Everyone is comparing themselves to the next person, and it's really hard not to compare when you have fibromyalgia. If you try to do things that, let's say, healthy people do, like I run a lot, one of the hardest things for me in any race is reminding myself that when I'm running, I'm going to be at the back of the pack. I'm never going to win a race. But for me, winning is just crossing that line. And that is a hard thing. That's a hard thing to remember. We also need to remember that every person's fibromyalgia symptoms are going to look different. So we have to remember that comparison is not going to help. We can share, we can ask questions, but please remember that at no point is it helpful to say to another person, my pain, what I'm dealing with is worse than yours. And again, vice versa. That's never going to be helpful. But also, it's not helpful to look at people who are otherwise healthy and say, well, it's not fair that they can do that and I can't, or I struggle with that. Maybe you can still do the thing that you're seeing them do. It's just going to look a little bit different. Like me with running, for instance. It's really important to allow yourself to rest. In this society, it's really easy to just get caught up in the rat race. I live downtown Toronto, I understand, but it's really important to rest. Your body needs rest. Your body's going to need more rest than it probably ever has before. And it's really important to make sure that you allow yourself that For me, naps have become my best friend. Sometimes you're just overcome with so much exhaustion that you have to lie down, and that's okay. Allow yourself that. It took me a long time to find the right doctor, and I know of people who still to this day have doctors that will say that fibromyalgia is not a thing, and that's really hard and that's really frustrating. It's really important to find a doctor who believes in you, believes your story, believes that the pain that you're telling them about is real and true, and that all of the symptoms that you're telling them about are real and true. For me, I started my journey with a naturopath because I couldn't find a doctor like that. Now I've been blessed to find a doctor who agrees that fibromyalgia is a thing and also is okay with me working with a naturopath and listens to what she has to say and will run tests based on what my naturopath believes that I need tests for. So I'm really lucky to have a very good medical team around me. My naturopath is generally my first go-to, but my doctor is really, really great. It's important to get differing opinions, I think. I think it's important to listen to your gut. Ultimately, you know what you should do and what you shouldn't do for yourself. This is a new and scary thing, but eventually you're going to be able to know if you should be listening to this doctor or that doctor, or maybe you should check out a naturopath or whatnot. You have to fight for yourself. You're going to have to become your own advocate, and you're going to have to fight for yourself. And if you don't have the strength for that, it's important to have someone around you that can do that for you. For me, that was my mom. My mom fought hard for me. And then finally, as I grew up, I was diagnosed at 19. So as I grew up and kind of started to stand on my own 2 feet, I was able to take on that torch and carry it forward and fight for myself. It is really important to stand up for yourself. You know that what you're feeling is real. Don't let anyone else tell you differently. It is true. What you're feeling is real. You are not crazy. And this is life, okay? So you need to fight for yourself. You need to fight for the best care that you can have. If for you that means going to a doctor and going onto a medication, don't let anyone tell you that that's not okay. Some people like me don't do the medicinal route, but that doesn't mean that you should be shamed for doing that. And I shouldn't be shamed for not going to the medicinal route, you know? Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's going to deal with their pain differently, and that is okay. The number one thing that I want you to take from this is listen to your gut and be prepared to fight for yourself. There's no perfect answer. There's no perfect solution across the board. If you're not comfortable with how your doctor is approaching your fibromyalgia, find a new doctor. I know that can be daunting, but it is important to make sure that you're getting the best care for you. You need a doctor who's going to be gentle, but who's also going to fight for you. So that's really important. Wow, this is depressing. But then the last thing that I tell people is you're still going to be able to live a very full life. You know, you're going to go through all of the steps and it's going to feel really daunting at first, but eventually you're going to be able to kind of settle into a routine. Your life's going to look differently than you thought at first, but that happens to everyone. Everyone has their stuff, you know? Ours just happens to be kind of debilitating from a pain level, but everyone has stuff, right? I'm not trying to say that our journey isn't difficult, because it is. And it is real, and it is important to remember that. But we can still move forward. We can still live very full lives. So in terms of helping yourself out, whether you've gone the medicinal route or more of a naturopathic route like I have, one of the main things that I tell people right off the bat is to make sure that you start exercising. And exercise can look different to different people. You don't have to go out and run a 10K, but maybe you take a walk around the block. That might exhaust you, and that's okay because that's your truth. But try to get outside, try to go for walks, try to get a little bit active. If you can't get outside because COVID, we're in lockdown, there are great just like walking routines on YouTube. You can also just walk in place. You can do a couple of push-ups or a couple of sit-ups, you know, something, but get active. Getting active was one of the best things that I ever did. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that journey looked like for me in a couple of videos, but It's going to be painful and it's going to be hard, but you're going to be able to push through it eventually, and you're going to really start to become in tune with your body and know what you can and cannot do. And on good days, it's really important to make sure that you get a little bit active, and then eventually you're going to be having more and more good days, and you're going to be able to get more and more active. And that's really, really great. For me, one of the best things I ever decided to do was start hiking. It's so good for your mind, your body, and your soul, and I highly recommend it if you're able to do that. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. This is a bit heavy today, but I want you to keep in mind, no matter what, keep fighting. Keep moving forward, one day at a time, one step at a time, sometimes 1 minute at a time. If you have to take a nap after you take a shower and that's all you can do that day, that's okay, and that is enough, okay? I'm always here. If you need to rant or vent or cry, reach out, I'm here, all right? We're in this together. It's a tough journey, but you can do it. If I can do it, believe me, you can do it. Okay, let's make it a great day.